Alrighty, what is going on, folks? Beatty Strength back here with you, Iron Logic Barbell, and we are on to week 5 of the training program. Feeling good. As I'm making this, the week 4 video just went up. Took me a while to get all of last week together, but figured it out. I'm going to try to cut it down this week some. I know nobody really needs to tune in and listen to me for over an hour, but maybe you want to, maybe you do, whatever. But looking forward to this week, coming off a good one, moving numbers really well last week, getting 3 sets of 3s, sets of 4s, and all heavier weights, and happy to kind of get back into the swing of things. We had, made some mistakes, made some jumps, and gotten off track a little bit, but last week felt like we were really on top of everything, and the numbers kind of show that, so hoping to just build good weeks on top of good weeks. We've got overhead and bench today. We are working up to 3 sets of 4 at 300, and for the bench with some heavier workup sets and back down sets. I think around like 265, 285, 300, those working sets, and going back down the ladder, and then overhead working up to, I believe, 160 or 165 again. Last week we got 4 reps on our AMRAP set, so the overhead is going up for the week, I believe. The bench, I think, is right on the cusp. It's got it plugged into a formula. I think it's right on the cusp of going up 5. So if anything, if we do well this week, it'll probably jump up 10 for next week, honestly. So it is what it is. Want to be able to smoke the weight this week and not even worry about it, but just going to go in and get the work done. And then got the accessory movements. I think the dip belt is going to just maintain a staple. I want to continue to load up those heavy pull-ups. I got some other rows, some biceps, some chest flies. I'm hoping that after, nice recovery weekend, not doing anything, no drinking, no nothing, we're able to rest up and this week hopefully can warm up properly and get through all of our accessory movements. So looking forward to today, and I will report back how we are feeling and how things go here shortly. Alrighty, folks, wrapping up day 1 of week 5. We had the bench, overhead, and some other upper body accessories. It went well, moved well. All of the weights were pretty much the same as last Monday's. Not as much deviation as the weeks prior, but that's all right. Gives us time to double down and smash through some of those weights, get that confidence going. So we had the 3 main sets, working sets of 4 were at 300 pounds. And I've gotten some feedback already, like I said in the video prior to the gym, posted the last week's training video, and already getting some comments. Need to put up the weights on screen. The kilo plates not only play games with my head, I'm sure they play them with your head. So I will make sure that I'm adding those weights in there. But for all intents and purposes, just know that more times than not, the sets shown are the heavy sets, the ones that really matter, the ones we end up talking the most about, but I'll still throw those numbers up there. So we hit 300 for 3 sets of 4, and then worked down the ladder. And it felt really solid, 285, 265, 250, and 230, and that went 5, 6, 7, 8. Bench is feeling really good. Moved over to overhead, Did the working sets at 160, which is like 72 point something kilos. And we had the tried and true 357, 468. Now, after the set of 5, did get some, twinge of some uncomfortability, I guess you could call it, in the shoulder. Try to do some banded work in between some of the sets. I mean, it's moving well. I feel confident with it. It just sucks that on the deep stretch portion at the bottom, it does tend to flare up a little bit. So still got to work on that. That's a work in progress, but it's not debilitating, so we venture on. Hit some pull-ups, threw on 15 kilos this time, which is basically equivalent to the 35 pounders. I'll have to do the math and I'll throw it on the screen, but we did that for 5 sets of 5. Felt solid, moved over, and I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, but I threw in some triceps focus work, just did some push downs and overhead extensions, just to kind of pump those up a little bit on today's day. More hypertrophy, no max load, no AMRAP set. Figured it's the best day to just throw a little bit more volume at the triceps, bring those up some. I think maybe having some weaker triceps could be affecting the shoulder, and I don't know. I'm playing around with some things. Went from there, hit chest flies. I did it on the pec deck. I was supposed to do it on the cables, but everything was taken, and I like the pec deck all right. And then just did a 3x12 there, and then did some seated bicep curls with the 45s, 3x10 to 12, the standard. So overall, felt really good. The bench moved probably some of the best that it has on that Monday lift of just that 3x4. So that's a good sign. I'm happy with the way that went. Overhead, again, the weight's moving fine. I just wish that I wasn't having that same kind of shoulder discomfort. So hopefully we can start to chip away at what's causing that, and kind of leave it at that. So good start to the week. I can't complain really about anything. I'm gonna head back, fuel up. I got some stuff to knock out for work, and I will see y'all tomorrow for squats. We're going for 510, so stay tuned. All right, what's going on, crew? We are back in action, heading to the iron for the day. Day 2 of week 5. We've got squats and sumo. Squats went decent last week. We worked up to the 505, 506 and we got it for 3. This week we're jumping up to 510. So steady gaining on that. I'm hoping to be able to get that for 3 as well. As we get back into these heavier weights, when I was in college, really at my prime in squatting, I remember I got, I believe, 545 for 4. So we're still not quite there yet, but that was also when I was squatting, I hit 620. So, I know I'm not back at that point yet, but would like to get there. So that's just my frame of reference. So as we're getting into these heavier sets, just keeping that as a frame of reference. So 510, like to get it for 3 today. If more, fantastic. We'll see how we're feeling when we're warming up. I haven't felt super great on any of these squat days. There's some days I've had before where I just step under the bar and it feels like absolutely nothing's on your back and you can squat the world. Wouldn't necessarily say I feel that yet, but definitely gaining my confidence back, and looking forward to it. Working up, first sets at 400, 455, 510, and then backing down to 485, 455, and so on. Then we're moving over to sumo for the 357, 468. I don't love the sumo. I think it sucks, but I do think it's good for me. I do think it's a good accessory movement. I think it helps open up the hips some. So that, I believe, is at 435. I feel like last week it definitely moved the best it has so far with this program, but still not super comfortable. Still kind of figuring out what the hell I'm doing with that. It's definitely more technical, I would say, in my opinion, than the conventional, but that's also because I don't really do it. So I don't know. And then we got some core work, some leg curls, some stuff like that. So it should be a solid day. I'm hoping to be able to get a lot of videos and just be able to keep moving. It's tough because I want to take adequate rest in between sets, but I also don't want to spend my entire day, my entire morning in the gym. Don't get me wrong, I love being in the gym, and if it were up to me, I would spend my entire day there. But I got other stuff to do, and trying to find the balance there. So if we can keep it under 2 hours, great. Just sucks as you're getting heavier. You need more rest in between, I find. So trying to find that balance point. But overall, body's feeling solid. Hips feeling good. Gonna get warmed up properly and get after it. So stay tuned for that. All right, what is going on, crew? Beta Strength back with you. We just wrapped up squat day, day 2 of the week 5, and feeling good. Cut right to the chase. So I was a little off with the numbers going in, but looked at it again. That was pretty close. So first set of squats was at 400. That moved nice and easy. Didn't feel great warming up until I got about 375 on my back, honestly. 1 and 2 even just felt, I just didn't feel in rhythm, and I just kind of felt a little all over the place. But as the weight got a little bit heavier, got more locked in. So that first set of 400 felt, all intents and purposes easy. And then jumped to 455. We had that for, forget how many, I think I just did it for 3. Might have messed up there, but did it for 3, and it felt good. At that point, I'd only had my belt on. I did not go with the wrist wraps just yet. And then the top set, the money set, we had 510, and we got it for 3 reps. And overall, I was pretty pleased with it. I threw on the wrist wraps. That helped me feel more locked in, and just kind of condensed. And that's how you kind of want to feel with squats. The first 2 reps moved extremely well, in my opinion. And I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it, but on the 3rd rep, I definitely got a little forward. I tried to rush it and kind of lost my balance. It made that 3rd rep a whole lot harder. I think had I not done that, 4 was in the tank, but getting out of rhythm, getting a little too far forward on that 3rd rep. I called it there. I was pretty pleased with it. Some people are saying 3 is now the new 2. How before we were happy with 2. Maybe I'm only happy with triples. I don't know. There's something about triples on squat that do feel good. I like doubles too, whatever. But no, moved well, and then back down the ladder. I said 485, and I ended up going for 484. The program called for 480, but 4 red kilos aside is 484. And honestly, to drop that just to mess with some change plates, I felt like my energy was better suited to just go for 484. Took that for 3, moved well, and then back down to 455 for 3, moved well again. I think those first 2 back down sets after the AMRAP, they are killer, because you give your all to get those 3 on the heavier weight. But then, 484 is still not chump change by any stretch of the means. So those always can be a little taxing, but we got through it, and I think moved decent. From there, I went to 430, 400, and then 2 sets at 3 something. And started getting a little weirdness through the IT band, the outside of the glute, upper hip area, but nothing crazy. Moved over to the Sumo. It was 435. I just went for, I believe 440. It's 435 is 195 kilos, and 200 kilos is 440. It's a whole lot easier to just hit 200 kilos. So did that, and when I went to do mixed grip, I'm a mixed grip guy. The left arm going supinated, I could definitely feel a strain through the upper part of my tricep where it kind of connects up through the lat. So that's annoying. I don't really know what's causing it. I think it's just lat tightness, but whatever. We got through it. I got a video of the 3, I think, and it's moving better. I ended up just switching to double over with 440. I can still do double over pretty easily, so that's not a problem. And you get a little bit of extra grip work, so can't complain there. Moved over, did some seated leg curls, worked up to doing the full stack, which felt good. Those were moving nice and easy. Did my little kettlebell swings and circles and holds and whatnot. Did some dead hangs, loosen up the back and the shoulder, and then finish it off with calf raises. So overall, I think a really solid squat day. I think today, throughout the day, I'm going to try to just really dig into that lat and loosen it up some, get some of that gonk just moving around, ideally, because we don't want this just hanging around and pissing us off for weeks to come. And the last thing we want is to rip the lat off the bone. Torn lat sounds awful, and if I can't hit a rear lat spread, then what are we even doing all this for? Obviously we want to move heavy weight, but if I can't do one of my favorite poses, then we might have to put the kibosh on this. So I think we'll be fine. I don't want to get ahead of myself there, but good day, day 2, feeling solid. We will rest up, eat up, try to hit some mobility and stretching and all that jazz. And tomorrow we're back for the AMRAP for overheads, some incline, and we'll dive into that tomorrow morning. Checking back in with you for day 3 of week 5. You know what the deal is. Today is the shoulder AMRAP day. Our overhead press AMRAP day, I guess you could call it. We're coming off a solid squat day yesterday, hit that 510, and it feels good to gain that confidence on the squat. Little by little, we're creeping back over 500. Pretty soon, all of our working sets, including the back downs, are gonna be up over 5, which is what you want on paper, but then when you gotta do it, definitely sucks. But I don't want to complain. But today's focus, like I mentioned, the overhead. We've got 220 for the AMRAP. I will make sure that I get that video. I know I'm going on 2 weeks with missing the video. Some people are calling cap, saying, Ben, there's no way that you're that strong. I know, it's crazy. But no, I mean, it's not even that great of an overhead, but it's getting there. I know our short-term goal at least is to get to body weight overhead, which we're creeping up, you know, depending on how many we can get today at 220. I know we're coming off of 4 at 215 last week. If we can get 3, ideally 4, I'd be pretty pleased with that. I know 4 was definitely quite a grind last week, so if I'm being a realist, I'm saying we're probably going to be looking at 3, but hey, you never know. Send it for 4 again, and we're inching our way even closer to that goal of body weight. Speaking of, weighed in this morning, 239, so we are up a little bit, but feeling good, feeling strong. Following up overhead with incline, 215 for that working weight, and then moving over to weighted pull-ups and some rows. I've decided that for the time being, at least with this flare-up of the lat, I'm gonna cut out the pull-downs for my accessory work. I think hitting pull-ups and some rows is plenty for my back, especially doing it 3 times a week. And then we've got some shoulder accessory work and some bicep accessory work. Just getting nice and pumped up, nice and plump. What more could you ask for? But overall, feeling really good. I know I'm going a little bit later. I've had back-to-back meetings since this morning. Literally just got out at 2 o'clock, so having to hit it later in the day. I'm hoping the gym's not too packed, and I'm hoping we can get after it. So I will check back in afterwards, hopefully with some big news and some big PRs and a video. All right, crew, we are back, wrapped up. I feel like that one took extra long. Watch only says an hour and a half, but took my watch off to throw my wrist straps on for most of the sets of overhead, so I don't know. It's probably closer to 2 hours, but we got some good work done today. So started out, it was 175 for the first set for 5, then it was 195 for 3, and then the AMRAP set. So we worked up, it was 220, and we got it for 4 reps. And I'll say, in my own humble opinion, say what you will, I think it was cleaner than last week's. Now, we have no video evidence, photo evidence of how last week's moved, so that's purely conjecture. But me telling you straight how it is, that felt both better and easier than last week's set at 215 for 4. So it paid off to wait and get a real good video on the docket, and I'm really happy with that. I was a little nervous, and I know I was already kind of hedging, even saying that we'd probably only get 3 based on last week's production, but we went and we got 4 of them. So happy with that. So to all the haters who said the 215 for 4 was cap, I won't say any names, but you know who you are. There you go. There's the video of 220. Back down set 205 for 3, that moved well. Then it went to 195 for 3, 185 for 3, and 170, 160, 155, whatever. Those are important, those matter, but those aren't the cool, fun, heavy sets. So, good day there. Went over to the bodybuilding side to move on to incline. It was taken, so I decided rather than doing Smith, I would just wait to see if it freed up. It looked like the gym wasn't all too packed. Anyway, so I went over and I hit my pull-ups, and we did first set, no weight, and then sets 2 through 4, 25 pounds, and then the last set, just wanted to go for it, threw on 45. Got 4 clean ones, the last one, bit of a struggle, but keep pushing myself. Ideally get to being able to knock out the 5x5 with the plate on. That'd be pretty cool. Then we moved over, we did get on the incline. It was 215 this week for 3, 5, 7, 4, 6, 8. Those sets moved really well. I think especially after the pull-ups, definitely found myself a little bit more taxed towards the later sets, but still able to get through all of the weight, so happy with the way that moved today. I was debating if I was going to do rows. I know I talked beforehand if I was going to take out the pull downs, which I did. The pull-ups after the pressing, started to feel it in my lat. I went ahead with it and did some machine rows, just banged out 3x12 there, and it felt good. Didn't feel great. I didn't love the machine, but it was okay. It was okay, honestly. But hit that, and I was happy that I did it. I didn't really feel a whole lot of pain, so it would have been silly to cut it. Moved over, and we got a new, who's honking? It's just back-to-back traffic. I mean, what do you want? But we got a new lateral raise machine. It's a standing apparatus, and I'm sure you've seen a similar situation before, but hold on to the handles, and it provides that tension from the very bottom all the way up to the top, and that felt really good. And that's a tough movement when I'm pretty sure the stack only went up to 100 pounds. And we messed around with it, did just like the first set at 20 pounds, and then jumped to 40, jumped to 70, and just kind of felt it out. I tried facing forwards, I tried facing backwards, but honestly, just wanted to, experiment with the new machine while chasing that shoulder pump, and it felt well. I do kind of like to go more in front, which this machine doesn't really allow you to do. It's much more to the side, so the grip becomes a weird thing. I was kind of fiddling with it, so if I hit it next week, hopefully I can be able to lock it in a little bit better. And then just jumped over to bicep curls, did the seated curls, as y'all know, and wrapped up the day. So like I said, the overhead press is really the star of the show. I was really happy with 220 for 4. I'm guessing next week will be 225, which is even cooler in its own right. Annoying because I have to do the plate math and break out change plates, but if you're in a normal gym using, you know, freedom plates, that's just 2 wagon wheels on there, which definitely feels good to get back to. Like I said, when I was starting this, I got 1. That was my 1 rep max. So to be able to do 220 for 4, hopefully, you know, 225 will move just as well, at least 3. I can see the progression that we're already seeing here in real time. So that's fun. Overall, pretty happy, especially given the fact we had to go a little bit later in the day, but it is what it is. So we'll head back, rest up. I'm going to try to get the same stretching and mobility routine in tonight before bed. That seemed to help out quite a bit. And then tomorrow we've got deadlifts. It's 590 for the AMRAP set, but we will, you know, dive into that tomorrow, what we're looking to accomplish. But other than that, we'll see y'all tomorrow. Alrighty, folks, we are back. Day 4 of week 5. Today is the deadlifts, and I'm excited for it. We're coming off a solid day yesterday with the overhead. Really pleased with that. Definitely feeling some tightness and some soreness already in like the traps and the shoulders, but hopefully that doesn't play too much of a factor today for the deads. But no, excited to get the deads moving. On the AMRAP, we are working up to 590. Last week we got the 585 for 3, and definitely remember that was feeling very heavy, which is never a great feeling, like to walk in and it's just feeling light as a feather. But you're gonna have days like that. Open today is one of the days where it feels pretty light, so we shall see. First set's 465, 525, and then jumping right into the AMRAP at 590, and then the back down is 560 and 525, and so on. Like I said, the other sets matter, especially I'm trying to really build the technique and the consistency with that. And at the end of the day, this is more of an off-season program to really build that fundamental, bring up the baseline. When I get to the peaking phase, I'd like to see the numbers progress quicker. But we're in a solid spot. The one thing I'll say for the squat, bench, and overhead, we're already starting to see those first back down sets being what the AMRAP was in earlier weeks. We're not there yet. I believe the first week at deadlifts was 565, and this week's back down set is still 560. So we need to really stay on top of that and get the ball moving on the deadlifts. I know long-term goal is that 800-pound number, so we need to really address that and get the weight moving. It should be one of my better lifts, so I will be better there. After deadlifts, supposed to be doing front squats, and I've been going back and forth because I don't want to, you know, stay away from a challenge. But at the end of the day, the point of the front squats should be a leg development and a core development movement. And right now I'm really limited by my mobility, not just in the front squat, but other movements. I've had the issues with the tricep and the lat and the chest. And to get into a proper position and actually be able to load up the weight on front squat to develop the legs further, I just can't do it right now. And I don't want to just skip it, and I don't want to do super submaximal loads like last week, 225. So I'm thinking of switching over to maybe a high bar squat, a hack squat, a leg press, something like that. I think leaning towards the high bar squat because I do still want to squat more. But I know the front squat right now, it's not lining up with the way my body is moving and the way it's feeling. And I don't want to shy away from more leg development because I know I need it. So gonna swap that out today, then move on to some other core and leg accessory work. But talk of the day is definitely deadlifts. I'm excited for it. Fueled up well this morning, still sipping on a little bit of coffee, and it should be a good lift. So hoping we walk in and that bar's moving right and it's moving fast. But I will report back, and hopefully with some big numbers. Alrighty, folks, that one took a while. That was over 2 hours. I'm not afraid to say it. It was. Deadlifts definitely took some time. We were taking some adequate rest in between sets, and we got it done. Initial thoughts before diving in. Okay. I'm not super happy with it, but on paper we accomplished what we set out to, so I can't really be too upset with it. So let's just dive right in. Started at 465. That moved okay. It felt decent. I think I warmed up pretty well today, honestly. And then we went to 525 for 3. It definitely felt heavier than I would have liked, but not horrible. Not horrible by any means. I think something that might help me is, instead of going, the 465, 525 to the AMRAP, like today, for instance, maybe pushing that 525 to the first set of, 3, and then just hitting a heavier single. Because I know from like a central nervous system wise, that could maybe zap me a little bit for the AMRAP, but on the other hand, just getting your body used to heavier weight like that. I mean, 525 to 590, in my opinion, is a bit of a heavy jump. Maybe something in between, but for the time being, I've been able to do it, so I'm going to stick with the program, but just something I've been mulling around. But got to the 590, and we did get it for 3. So again, I can't be super upset about it. It just, similar to last week, it felt all of 590 pounds. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That was 590, and it felt like it. But, I think it moved well. And down to 565. And per usual, that first back down set, or 560 rather, that first back down set is killer. That third rep felt honestly even harder than the AMRAP set. Both felt hard, don't get me wrong, but whoa. Not to mention, this is a newer bar, the Knurling. I mean, look at that. I don't know if you can tell, I don't know if it'll focus, but shit hurts. But got it, and then 525 again for 3. Then down to 495, 465, 435, 405. My hands were getting torn up. I was hurting. So I think on the 465 set, I broke out the straps. I wasn't losing my grip by any means, but it was just decimating my hands. So in an effort to save them, broke out the straps. Don't love that, but I felt like it was necessary to keep them from ripping open. Moved over, so I decided to do the high bar squats, working weight of 295. It moved well, and honestly, get the secondary benefit of that bar was digging into my traps, loosening up some of the junk in there. Did some nice pauses with those as well, just feeling out the movement, but that moved well. And then decided to just stick on the powerlifting side and do some farmer's carries, some farmer's walks. Felt like that would be a fun thing to do. And it was pretty empty. The runway, the turf was open, so I went for it. I did 2 sets of, I want to say like 200 yards, or something around there. And that felt good. It was more so for cardio, if anything. A little bit of grip towards the end of that. But I liked it. It's something that I think I might continue to experiment with. And then did some leg curls, and then we got out of there. So again, on paper, not a bad day by any means. We got everything done that we wanted to. We got the 3 reps, which has become sort of our baseline. But I just wish it was starting to feel a little bit better, a little bit easier. But as long as the bar keeps moving, we'll keep being happy with that. So that puts a bow on day number 4 of 5. Tomorrow we've got bench, and I will check in with you tomorrow morning to run through what we're looking for there. All right, crew, what is going on? We are checking back in for day 5 of 5 for week 5, and we're moving on to the bench press. We are coming off a decent day yesterday. I know in the moment I was a little disappointed with how the bar was moving on deadlifts yesterday, but at the end of the day, we got the reps and the sets we were after. We moved the weight decent enough. In retrospect, still pretty happy we got 3 on the 590. Moving on to bench, we are working up to 335 for the AMRAP. Now last week we did have that same weight and we got it for 4, so obviously goal of the day is to match it or better it. So I think even last week with the way that it was moving, that last rep was definitely a little bit slower, but I think maybe we've got 5 in us, and I'm hoping, you know, having a second crack at it, we can get the bar moving well. Leading up, we've got 265, 300, the AMRAP, and then backing down to 320, 300, 285, and so on. Following up the bench, we've got the close grip, so hopefully the body will hold on, stay together. I know the tricep, the lat, shoulder have been kind of nagging me there on the left side, so hoping that we can get through all the working sets with no problem or any serious pain or discomfort. Then moving on to some Yates rows, some face pulls, some flies, some bicep curls, everything along those lines. Get nice and juicy heading into the weekend. Body-wise, feeling okay. Definitely the lower back is zapped. The erectors, the posterior chain definitely got cooked yesterday on the deadlifts. Anytime you're doing 9 sets of deadlift, you're probably going to feel it the next day if you're moving any kind of serious weight. So feeling that a little bit today in the traps even, but hoping that doesn't carry over into the bench too much. So like normal, just going to get warmed up and get the shoulders moving, do a little bit of extra banded work like I've been doing, and hopefully we can hop in and crush this session. But I will check in with you guys after, give a brief rundown of the week, and we'll see how it goes. Alrighty folks, we are checking back in for day 5 of 5, week 5, and we're going out on a high note. Things went really well. We got the AMRAP set on bench at 335 for 5. So week 5, and we get 5 reps. Pretty happy about that. Like I was saying beforehand, with the same weight, we obviously want to be able to move it even better and obviously for more reps if possible, and we were able to do just that. So pretty happy with that. Working up, you know, it took my time warming up. That first set was 265, then 300, and then the AMRAP. Like I said, I think the AMRAP moved really well for 5, and then the back down set of 320. We got that for 3, and I think, you know, handled that weight well. And then we backed it down to 300 for 5. And I mean, if you think about it, Monday's lift is doing 300 for the working weight, 3 sets of 4. We're doing 300 for 5 after 2 heavier sets at probably 95-90%. So really happy with the way those 3 moved, and then backing down the ladder, I think it was 285, 265 again, 250, 230. So pretty happy with that. No real twinge, no real issue from the shoulder and the tricep. Moved over to close grip. We were doing the working weight at 215. Doing, of course, our standard 3, 5, 7, 4, 6, 8. And got those. I've been messing around with the grip, and I would say it's maybe almost closer to a JM press, you could call it, but moved well. Did pull-ups, first set, no weight, next 2 sets, 10 kilos, next 2 sets, 15 kilos. Pull-ups are definitely feeling stronger, I'm happy with that. And moved over to Yates rows, worked up to 100 kilos, so 220 pounds, 3 by 10 to 12, I believe. Moved over to the bodybuilding side, hit some face pulls, hit some incline dumbbell flies, 55 pounds, 3 by 12, and then some bicep curls. So overall, really happy with the day, happy with the pump, happy with the numbers. And for this week, I mean, thinking back, I mean, the overhead, we moved the 220 well. That's definitely a heavier weight. The squats got 3 reps, deads got 3, and bench got 5. So if we can stick in that 3 to 5 zone across the board, you know, we're gonna be moving some heavy weight. So I'll plug it in. I'll see what we're gonna be working up to next week, and we'll go from there. But other than that, you know, just gonna rest up this weekend, get the full rest. I know last week I had to do the final lift of the week on Saturday, so kind of didn't take the full 2 days off in a row. So excited for Saturday and Sunday off, get back to it on Monday, hit the week hard, and then I believe the following is a deload week, which I think much needed. So we'll see how we tackle that. But that's all for week 5, and thanks for tuning in. See you next week.